No. Oh, yeah, try this out. Sorry. Yeah.
Hi, Wayne.
Hello,
Hi.
how's it going?
It's going,
Yeah,
you know.
like scouring my email for the code to get in.
Yeah, that was a bit of a challenge. Did you ever find it in your email? I went on the website.
What? The code?
Yeah, the invite.
Yeah, it's
It's
noted.
on the agenda. Yeah,
like a second page after the meeting notice.
yeah, the second page of the agenda.
Okay, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 people here. What else we got going on?
Oh, I should have brought my computer in too. You guys get those plans?
Thank you for,
I did. I'm gonna
Yeah,
put
I'm gonna,
in.
thank you very much for taking those notes.
Yeah,
Oh.
thank you.
you're welcome. Hi, I think I'm gonna go grab my computer because I've got those, I don't know, we're probably gonna talk about those drawings, right?
Assume
Yes.
so.
Yeah, okay, I'll be right back. We don't know, no Peter yet, right?
I
Yeah.
do not see her yet.
I think he's joining us now.
Good evening.
Hey, Peter.
Can everybody hear me?
I
Yes.
can-
Hi.
All right.
Hi,
Problem is I
Peter.
can't hear everybody, and I know why.
Ah,
Put your earbuds in first.
that's the tricky part.
Yes. All right. So I am unable to open the meeting through
The town.
the town only because my computer is a bank computer and it has the bank's Zoom account. So every time I go to try to get on that way, I can't. I get not kicked off, but it wants me to enter through the Capital One account and not the town hall. So therefore, no one is controlling the meeting right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So so I wanted to be able to put up the document, the new plans that we just received. But I won't be able to do it. And Tony did say that he might be on, in which case, if he does join, then he would be able to give me control. Which
I think you can just go to view in the top right and then change it. And I think you can actually claim the,
yeah, but if I go to share screen,
No.
only the host can share in this meeting. And because I didn't come in through the right way, I'm not the host, if that makes sense.
Who started this meeting? Like, who's the first person on?
Good question.
Because they might be the host and then maybe they can make you a co-host.
No, it's probably set up that anybody can join automatically without the
Yeah.
host until the host
Okay.
joins.
All right.
Peter,
Yeah,
can you sign on with your iPad and then claim the host from there and then and then pass it to your computer so you can share documents?
oh, wait, I see. When I went to participants down at the bottom right, it says claim host. Peter,
Yeah.
if you
Bottom right. I don't have anything in the bottom right.
hit the participant,
Yep.
get out of full screen, go to participants.
I'm in participants.
And then at
Oh,
the
I see where it
bottom
says
right-
claim host. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't have that.
Yeah, I don't either, Peter.
Tom, do you have the plans because you sent them out?
yeah.
Could you claim host? And then
Sure.
you'd be able to share?
Yeah. Enter host key. I don't know a key. Is there a key?
There's just a password to get in. It's Nahant 01908.
Try it.
Yeah, I wonder if I'd be able to, leave and come in through, you know what, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna leave and then,
Coming through a
Get-
different browser?
yes, exactly. All right, I'll
Yeah.
be back in a minute.
Hi.
Oh, gee.
You know, if Peter can't make it work, I mean, I can, you know, we'll be low tech, but I can hold up the PDFs that I have on my phone. I mean, I don't really think that there's anything particularly special about the drawings other than, you know, the turnaround. That was the only difference between the two drawings, right?
No, actually, there's more differences than that.
Well then I had to look at them on my phone, so maybe, well, all right, we'll wait for Peter and then we can make a determination.
There's, I mean, Pan, if you have them on your phone, you could always send them to your email account and then share your screen to show it. From
Well,
your
therein
email.
lies the problem. We can't share screens.
Oh, we
'Cause
can't
we-
share screens?
It's a town,
Right.
it's an account.
Oh, sorry.
we-
Gotcha. No,
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know what you're saying now. Sorry.
Done in by your own technology.
I'm a teacher. I know that feeling.
All right.
Yes, you do.
Sheila, how
All right.
about that?
I got it.
Yay.
All right, great.
I got it. I won't be able, I don't have the documents on my screen, but I believe I'll be able to allow Tom to share. So
Well, right now I'm messed up. Hang on.
that's all right. We're not going to do it right yet anyways. So at 7:09, I'd like to call the meeting to order. First order of business is we have some meeting minutes. One of them actually goes back pretty far. Anne Marie sent out the meeting minutes yesterday. And so I'd like to entertain a motion from someone to approve the meeting minutes from July 29th of 2020.
So moved.
I'll second that.
We need to do roll call. We need to, because, so,
Sure. Zahora, I.
well, wait a minute. Judy, you made the motion.
Right.
Wayne, that was you that seconded it? Wayne
Yeah.
Wilson seconded it? Okay. Any discussion? All right, roll call vote. Go ahead, Judy.
Zahora, I.
Mhm.
Wayne,
Dan?
you can,
Wayne, aye.
Tom, aye.
Anne Marie, I.
and Pan?
Oh, yeah, I said I already.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So those meeting minutes are approved. Next, we have the basic meetings from the public hearing we had on September 1st. Basically, these were just meetings that, stated that we went in and did a presentation and we took questions. So I'll
Yeah, I wasn't even
entertain.
sure it was a real meeting, I wasn't really sure.
It was it's a posted meeting where
Yeah, so
we were a
we'll-
quorum, so we actually have to. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion, Wayne.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Pam? Okay. Any discussion? All right, seeing and hearing none, roll call vote.
Anne Marie, I.
Pan, I.
Zahora, I.
Wayne, aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. I didn't even vote on the last one. All right. And then we have our meeting minutes from February 3rd last week. I'll entertain a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
I'll make the motion. Can I do that? I can do that, right?
Yes, you can do that. And,
Sure.
and that was?
Anne Marie, I'm sorry.
Anne Marie. Do I have a second?
Pan second.
This is Judy, a second.
Okay. All right, Pan got the second. Any discussion? All right, seeing and hearing none, roll call vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Pan, well, we need,
Put in roll call, right?
yeah, say your name, yeah, please.
Aye.
Yeah. Anne Marie, aye.
Aye.
Pan I.
Judy, aye.
Wayne abstains. I wasn't there.
Okay, and the
Okay.
chair votes aye. All right, great. So we're all caught up to date on meeting minutes. Let's see. Our,
Yeah, and thanks again, Anne Marie. That's terrific.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
welcome.
so next order of business is to continue on the update on the surveyor activities. So we did receive our 2 drawings from Hayes. I don't know, Tom, if you would be able to share at this time. But we essentially have 2 drawings. One, actually, Tom, you should explain it. You probably understand it better than I do. So one of them, I believe, is kind of the normal layout, and the other one is minus the 17 feet. Is that correct?
Right. Well, one is, there's 2 drawings and they're titled, the only difference is the title that I can find is one says 50 feet in the road and in Castle Road, and the other says 33.
Right.
So basically we just told him to go ahead with whatever he said, which was essentially to take the 17 or the 50-foot wide Castle Road widen drawing.
Right. Yep.
Or create that, using that as a new base, as a worst case for us. And it comes out that he can only get 11 lots based on this drawing. And then the other drawing, he simply took one that he had before, and I have so many drawings at this point, it was hard to figure out the reference, but the one that's titled 33 feet wide in the road, in Castle Road, has not really a hammerhead, but it has the circle in lot 12, or predominantly in lot 12. So there are some differences. There's some major differences, as you can imagine. But I think if we put the screen up, we might want to just have some comments and somebody collect them on kind of the overall drawing. And then if there are comments by lot number or
Yep.
any other place on the drawing, if we just call those out, probably.
All right. I mean, at this point, the drawing with 11.
Wait a minute, Tom. Peter, do you want to put it up, or I mean, I'm happy to show it if you want me to share my screen.
Yeah, if whoever has the availability, I don't have it on my iPad, so I wouldn't be able to share it.
All right, so
I
you
have it
need to
up
give
on
me.
my computer.
Why don't you give me rights?
Let's see. All right. I'm trying to figure out how to give you rights.
So is there anything there that says share?
Do you? Mine,
I
it
can't.
just says share screen. Did you hit share screen?
I did. Host disabled participants screen sharing.
Hold on. Meeting settings.
There should say something that says allow multiple participants, and you can check that box.
Wait a minute. So multiple participants?
Yeah, if you go down there, it should say, I can't see it, but it should say, you should be able to click it when it says share screen, and then it should say allow multiple participants, and then you can pass it back and forth.
Do you have a share screen button, Tom? Peter?
I do, but it doesn't say any of that.
Hmm,
What's it say?
Sorry, I can't help.
No, I'm trying to go to, I think it's meeting settings. Well, no. I would think meeting settings would general allow. Huh. 'Cause
On-screen
normally,
sharing.
yeah, normally I would go into that, that meeting settings and be able to. Security.
Do you see
Oh,
that?
shit.
So
There
when
you go. I
into-
got it. No, it was under. All right. You should be able to share now.
All right, let's see if that's so.
Yeah, it was under security.
I can. How about that?
All right.
Okay. So what are we looking at here?
So this is, depending on the title. This is the one with 11 lots. Now, first of all, we never got to a point with 11 lots. So I'm just wondering where did we end up losing? Oh, I guess we lost on the corner or along Castle Road.
Do you want to see the other one first?
So Peter, you lost a lot of footage on Castle Road.
Right. Yep.
So it changed the dynamics of the lots on Castle Road.
Right. So Wayne, you weren't here last week, and what it is there is a discrepancy in the deed that the U.S. government, when they sold the property back to us. So essentially, we sold the property or gave the property to the U.S. government. They built their fort or whatever, and then they built these houses. At some point, the Essex County decided to come in and widen Castle Road. And when that took place, there was a change in some of the property that was deeded. When the government gave the property back to us, they essentially kept a 17-foot wide strip of the frontage, which creates two problems. One is none of these lots 1 through 5 or 6, or I'm sorry, lots 1 through 4 would actually have any legal frontage because the U.S. government owns a 17-foot strip in front of them.
Oh, so that 17-foot strip still theoretically belongs to the government?
Theoretically, and here's the problem.
Well, wait.
We can't.
Wait, hold off. Actually, the taking occurred much earlier, in 1941. Essex County took that land to widen the road.
Go ahead.
So, and then I think the other deeds the government probably did some kind of a title check and discovered that was, public property, and corrected their drawing and corrected their deed. And then when they deeded it back, nobody in the town checked it. So they didn't realize it. So it's probably, the point is, it was taken as a road widening. And theoretically, I don't know if the town is going to have the, the priority to change it, because it was done at the county level and then for the state. So it's not a town widening.
Right, but the road is what it is.
The road is what it is, yeah. 30
So,
Right, because we were saying, months ago, or even longer than that ago, that the property line was out in the middle of Castle Road somewhere.
Well, it was
Right.
touching it, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's essentially exactly true.
No, it's not true.
Well,
No,
it is,
it's
depending
going
on
the
what
other way now, Wayne.
Castle Road is.
The problem is it's going the other way now where it's actually taking, it's taking property away from, so if you look at, Judy, could you blow up the picture a little bit more, even just to try and get the Castle Road area? So that dark line on the inside of the property is essentially that 17-foot strip.
Right.
Yes, I understand what the print is showing us.
Right. So the problem becomes, one, we don't know if this has ever been corrected or if there's any type of issue that was resolved, because we can't get into the Registry of Deeds to see if this was ever corrected.
And
Now,
I can't believe that's still an issue at this point.
well,
I can't either. You know what?
Yeah,
The other,
something, not get into the registry. I
well,
mean,
the other
ridiculous.
thing is, we have some paperwork here that was, it was Charlie Riley when he was the town council. So back in 2003, he and his law firm must have done some work looking at this title. I'm looking at it right now. And they make reference to a couple of things. This issue of the 17 feet may not even be an issue. I think we're probably jumping the gun here. There's been two other groups who have looked at this. The property was taken under contract at one point in time for somebody who was going to build some condos and some houses. I mean,
That's right.
something must have been done. I think we may be worried about absolutely nothing. We have
Right.
to do that. The problem is not.
Anne Marie, you froze.
And here's the thing, and I agree with Anne Marie, it doesn't really matter, frankly. It
Well,
doesn't in any way change our way of working or where our
Of the
plans are.
things,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Anne Marie.
Freddie, he makes mention of what they have used to decide where the boundaries are. So I think this needs to be reviewed by, it's too bad Dan Script isn't, among us, but I'm sure he's already gotten this and he's
Right.
reviewing it. And it may be that we don't have a problem at all. So I think we ought to move forward and look at the one that has the 12 houses on it.
Yeah.
Leave it.
So here's what I would ask. Let's have him draw. All right. Judy, pull up the house with the 12 lots. And the only thing, I guess the only thing that changes is the cul-de-sac at the end of the road.
Hold on.
I just want to, this is Pan, I just want to go on record and say that in the two prior committees that I was on, we never touched this issue ever. So I don't, it sounds like if it is an issue, it can be resolved once we can get into the Registry of Deeds. It's like a paperwork thing, but I agree. It doesn't really change our position.
Right.
Well,
I mean,
and remember, it's not our purview. Our purview isn't to make it happen. Our purview is only to do the recommendation of what they need to do. After that, this committee's purview is done.
Right, and if it turns out that once we get through this, the town votes on it, they accept it, etc. If it turned out that they could only put 11 houses, well, they can only put 11 houses. I mean, I don't know, I don't think we.
Yeah, but it's not even
Which
the
is
11
unlikely.
houses. I mean, it's unlikely they would have to redo correct this. I mean,
Right.
if the county owns the 17 feet, and I would have to assume if it was with the county and not the federal government, it might actually be easier to go to the county and say, hey, listen, if you guys own this strip of land, this is basically useless land to us. Could you give us this land back so we can finish our project? I'm pretty sure it would be easier than trying to go to the US government to do the same thing. So, all right. My suggestion here is the only difference is let's kind of, I mean, we can use this drawing. You know, the cul-de-sac kind of makes it a little funky with the, with that 12th lot, but that 12th lot was pretty sizable to begin with. And I think if I'm not mistaken, they talked about an easement on the right of way. So if
Oh,
that's the
okay.
case, then it's basically an easement, and the person that buys lot number 12 would have to deal with an easement. So, I mean, at this point, there is no, you know, at this point, there's no, I guess, issue. I mean, is everybody comfortable with, you know, this drawing? Because if that's the case, if that's the case, then we can move forward and use it for presentation purposes. And we could also have Hayes do their rendering with the, you know, the kind of the scale and the size of the shape of the house.
I'm
So-
not comfortable. I'm not comfortable with it. I think
Why,
the
Tom?
reason we had the other drawing done was because it was supposed to be a worst case scenario, is that we get stuck not being able to clear that 17 feet.
It doesn't,
Well-
I guess what I don't understand, it doesn't in any way negate what we're doing. You either sell them, you know, all we're going in there to
We
say
wanted
is,
to come in and have a more definitive recommendation, not just put 12 houses. We wanted to
definitive-
show,
the definitive recommendation is we're, you know, we're breaking them into lots.
Rely completely.
that's not
on
very
residential.
definitive.
The 17 feet, that issue, if it's an issue, which it very well may not be an issue, it has to be cleared up. It has to be cleared up, but I
But
don't think I think that we should move forward as though it is cleared up, because I can't imagine that it won't be.
And
These
also,
houses have been here for how long?
and
They're
also
on the street.
Dan, you know, recommended that we add, wording into our recommendation, subject to any title issues being resolved, period. So that's how
Right.
that's how we address that. I mean, you know,
Mhm.
that was Dan's recommendation at the last meeting, and I think that we should absolutely do that.
Right. Right, especially, I mean, unless we can somehow we get clear title ahead of that, we get, you know. I did hear, I talked to some people I know who work, you know, in Salem, and they said that if we send information in to the Registry of Deeds, they will do the work. There are people working in there, in the building. So I don't know if that's maybe a possibility for us. I don't know how much work the person who was doing this has done to date, but we might want to get that information from her and see if we can get the Registry of Deeds to complete this job, you know? I mean, I think that the first thing that Dan Script needs to review this stuff that he found that was Charlie
and he may
Riley's
have-
information.
and
And
he
he
may
may
have
have already
done
done that, yeah.
Yes.
Because this may already be a non-issue. I mean, it sounds to me as though, you know, this is what he was doing. It's a certificate of record title, so I don't know. Maybe it's not an issue.
Emery, did Dan distribute that? How did you get it?
He sent it to me, and I just
And-
happened to be on the phone with Anne Marie, and I forwarded it to her. I thought I forwarded it to everybody.
You forwarded it to everybody.
Oh,
You
Oh,
forwarded it to everybody.
The 23,
Yeah, the 33-page thing?
Yeah.
yeah,
y'all got it.
yeah.
Yeah, everybody got it.
Do you want to bring it up?
Well, yeah, you could do that. A lot of it is handwritten notes that are absolutely not possible they're really difficult to read.
Right.
But it's not all. The first couple of pages seem to address.
So I'm gathering that most of the people at this meeting are not online or something.
Oh, that's not working well. All right, well, here's the conversation completely. Anybody else have been having trouble with their internet in the last week?
No.
No.
Oh, it's been kind of miserable, but I really don't want to call Comcast.
I know. And if you notice, this 33-page document is upside down.
Oh,
So
that's
if you
helpful.
freeze your iPad, you can actually spin it around and read it.
Peter, when did you send that out?
I must have sent it out yesterday.
Yeah, with the plans, with those 2 drawings.
Oh,
Yeah, I sent out the
didn't-
plans.
I didn't get it.
You didn't?
No.
Well, how about I forward it to you right now, Tom?
Yeah, thanks.
Try that.
Oh, I hate how it came upside down.
Yeah, that's the way it was scanned in. So,
Judy, I corrected it. I'm going to email it to you right now so you can share it.
No, I'm trying to correct it now, which is okay. I'm just, it's so big, it's taking a long time to load.
Okay.
Let's see.
Judy, I am sending you an email with the slides. So the next agenda item, just
All
so,
right.
so we can share it, but
All right, see. It still has no, still having a hard time loading it.
I mean, is it really critical that we all read?
Not really, because you can't, I mean, it just.
you can't really read it anyways.
Yeah.
Well,
It
that's
just-
what,
The first couple pages, okay.
Certificate of record title, but it doesn't, give any, it just says refer to the assessor's plans from 1963.
All right, there we go. Finally, it's up.
Well, I'm sending this to you, Tom, because we should all have, you should have it. So. I just
There we go.
forwarded it.
Whew. All right. Can you see this?
It's white.
All right,
Wow.
so you can't. So, you share. Here we go. Now, can you see it?
No. Oh, yep.
Yep, I got it.
Okay. Says it's the title is best free from all encumbrances.
Yeah, and after all those handwritten notes, then there's some additional information that looks more like, there's a quit claim deed. I haven't read through all this, I'm, being
Yeah.
honest, but,
Neither have I.
yeah.
Well, this
And,
doc
and
is from,
it's not all just that piece of property. I think they also talk about other pieces of property in town, so it's probably way more than we need.
Oh,
Right,
wow.
right.
I don't even know how helpful it'll be, but if this document was found, there may be others. I guess that's the point, something that would.
Oh, yeah, no, there's, he basically went in to look at the old, the old files that the old town, Charlie Riley had. And this was the first, like literally within minutes, he had found this. So I'm sure there's others. And again, our recommendation, we're utilizing this drawing the same way we're going to utilize the reference drawing or the drawing with, house examples in it, as this is what we envision. Because clearly this is what we envision. This is what we've talked about. Who knows? There could be other issues with the deeds. I mean, I can tell you lot 9, that barn that's back there, if we broke this up the way this drawing is, a piece of that barn would be on this property, a very, sliver of it, because it's currently crosses over the boundary of this property. I literally went there when they had staked that back area, and that clearly sits inside the boundary line. So there's going to be things that need to be cleared up. I just think, not to say we're wasting our time, but we're at a standstill. We may or may not be able to clear up any information with respect to titles because of the registry of deeds being closed until, further notice for COVID issues. Again, this is our basic concept. This is what we envision the property being broken down to. And I think, I think we need to move forward with it.
I agree.
I agree
Pick a
too.
drawing and have a rendition drawn up, so that, we can at least be prepared for town meeting. Who knows, we may get a break in information between now and May that, provides this information. I spoke to Tony today, and he is going to get us scheduled for a selectmen's meeting. And he's also putting our September public hearing Zoom meeting. He's going to be having it put on the town, what do you call it?
The TV
town's
station.
TV station. Mondays at 5 p.m. I think is our slot. And so for the next several weeks, or a couple of weeks anyways, we'll be they'll be showing that video. So that's going to be helpful. And when we get to selectmen's meeting and town meeting, yes, we'll let them know there's some problems with, the title or deeds, or we're not sure, the property boundaries. And it's basically because we can't do the actual deed search at the registry of deeds. I mean, I'm sure people are going to understand.
Or maybe Kim Sherman can contact them and we can get it
Right.
resolved.
Yep. That's the other thing, is maybe she could contact them and try and get them to do a little bit of research for us. So I guess, I'll entertain a motion that we would move forward with this plan that shows 12 houses.
Yeah, I have one question about it. Why does the cul-de-sac have to look like that? I mean, it may be just.
Well, because to get the 12 houses, we needed to get more property back towards, like if you look at the property lines, they kind of shifted a bit to get more property back over to the houses on Castle Road to get the square footage.
But didn't they talk about a different kind of, not a circle, something? I don't know.
A hammerhead.
A hammerhead, there we go.
And when Hayes was on with us last week, I asked about that. And when he started to draw the hammerhead, it actually takes up more property.
Oh, it did. Okay.
Yeah.
It was, this is actually you're looking.
Right.
Yeah.
A question on the chat, Peter.
Yeah.
At what point in our agenda are we going to take public questions?
We usually do it at the end. I mean, unless there's
okay.
Unless there's something, unless somebody has a question relative to this. I mean, we've always been pretty open with people asking questions as long as it doesn't get out of hand. I mean, there's not we don't have a ton of people on the Zoom call, so it's not like, if there was 100 people, I'd be a little concerned. I mean, I'd be happy, but I'd be concerned about taking questions. So Alice, if you have a question, you feel free to ask it if it's relative to this.
Oh, but we should have people identify their themselves and their
Yes.
ad for the record?
Yes, please. And I don't know if I have to, I may have to unmute you. So I'm doing that right now. So Alice, oh, wait a minute. Did I unmute you? Yes. Alice, I did unmute you if you wanted to ask a question.
Can anybody hear her? Because I can't.
No.
I can't either.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
All right, so this is Heather Goodwin. I live at 22 Breezy Hill Terrace in Nahant, and I do have a question. So I know you're moving forward with this plan with the 12 houses because there is a loan to be paid off on this property. How much is the loan for?
$1.88 million.
How much do you estimate these plots selling for?
Between $350,000 and $400,000.
So why aren't you considering perhaps just selling off enough lots to pay off the loan and keeping the space, the open space or something for the future for Nahant?
That was one of the
Could that be
options
a
that we looked at.
possibility?
That is one of the options that we looked at, and we discounted it because of the loss of revenue, not only now, but in the future to the town. Basically, the town right now collects rent rolls from these properties. In the future, they would be tax dollars. And by eliminating a number of the houses, we eliminate, I mean, if you eliminated 6 houses, we would, we'd lose 50% of the tax dollars that come in from those houses long-term, and we would lose, income from 6 lots, right up front.
So do you know how much each house you get in revenue a year? I mean, $400,000 is a lot of money. Like, are you getting $400,000 in rent from these properties? Like, I feel like personally, like, I know this is all about money, 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 money with Nahant. But I feel like this space is our land and that good things could happen in the future with it. And I would love to see that considered again, because even with this cul-de-sac with lot 11, 12, like that could be open space. And honestly, our town is fighting on East Point to preserve open space, but in Bass Point, there's no talk of it whatsoever. I live right across from these properties. Like, I can look out my window right now and see them. I'd love to see a plot of open space. And I mean, doesn't it seem a little hypocritical that we're not even considering it on this side of town? Like, I mean, money, I get it. But like, I've lived here my whole life. My parents have lived here their whole life. Like, sometimes you need to do things that, are good for the town that don't involve revenue.
Can I
And
just
that's just my humble opinion.
This is Pan, obviously. Heather, just so you know, there are currently 2 abutters, 2 people who live in your neighborhood that have been sitting on this committee the entire time. So we, how many meetings have we had, Peter? Maybe like
coming up on 50.
55. Yeah, coming up
No,
on
I've been
50.
following this since I'm educated on this, Pan, and I've been following this for, 8 years, 10 years. So if one abutter wants to see 12 lots doesn't mean every abutter wants to see 12 lots. You know, I'm told that I should come to these meetings to voice my opinion, and I'm doing that. I know that your answer is, we don't care about your opinion, but I just want it to be heard. I want it to be on
I think that that's
record.
not a fair statement.
Yeah, I don't
Heather,
think
that's
Well,
not
I
a
mean,
fair
I
It's
did
really
show
not a
up at the
fair
last
statement.
meeting in September and said the exact same thing, but it's, you
No,
know,
you
I
were
know
asking
that this
for
plan
elderly
has been
housing
set in
back then.
place and it's not gonna change, but I am being encouraged to voice my opinion by people on, you know, on your committee, people who are on Facebook, and that's why I'm here. I mean, trust me, I know that you guys aren't gonna change the plan. I know. But I
We're
do
not
wanna-
changing the plan at
I
this
just
point, and
want
it's
to voice my
unfortunate.
concern as a lifelong Nahant resident, as an abutter to the properties. And I do think I'm being fair.
Unfortunately, this committee's been meeting for 3 years, and you
I've
voiced an
attended some of
opinion.
your meetings. I've been there.
Yeah, 3 of them. We know, we kept the records. So
How many
we-
times do you attend a meeting if you're never gonna be listened to anyway? And I think that's what the problem is here, is it's always how many meetings you go to and not the problems you're presenting. You want 12 houses, and there's a one for 11. 12 houses says there's easement problems. There is deed problems. The tanks aren't being mentioned. There's property boundary problems, but you are pushing 12 houses here. Why not 11? Why not 10 with no problems? That's what I want to know, because I just don't know why you're pushing 12 and you keep saying there's a lot of problems here. And I guess what? The people who buy them will have to find out about them later. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Why can't you come up with a plan that fits this lot? that
Heather,
has
I'm going to mute you.
no problems.
I'm going to mute you. And here's the reason why. We've been meeting for 3 years. You came to 3 of our meetings. You voiced your opinion about having elderly housing. We explained to you that we couldn't do elderly housing because we can't guarantee that elderly housing would end up in the hands of Nahant residents due to mass procurement laws. You're now asking us to cut down on the size and scale of the program. Again, we've been meeting for 3 years. For most of last year, we had already done our complete program of trying to figure out what we were going to do with the property. We had no one show up at our meeting to give input. We took as much input from our friends and neighbors as we could get, and we put it into our program to try and be non-biased. I can tell you that the town has financial problems because we have sewerage issues and other issues. There are 12 existing houses there now, where the plan is to put 12 existing houses back there now. And the reason for that is it doesn't affect.
Even what the houses are supposed to look like.
It
Like,
doesn't.
What pictures? What
Please let me finish. Please let me finish.
All right. I mean, I get
We're
it.
putting-
You don't want to hear my opinion. I will.
It's not that we don't want to hear your opinion. It's really
Okay,
late in the game to hear your opinion.
It's
We-
not late in the game. You guys haven't had you didn't have your minutes up for a year. So again, I get it. You've counted the meetings I've attended. I've been to all the big meetings. I've voiced my opinion. I am being encouraged to come to these meetings to voice my opinion, and it's getting close, okay?
Yeah. Again, I muted because I mean, we're hearing the same thing over and over again.
Excuse me, Peter, may I say
Yeah.
something at the end, Marie?
Sure.
We did look at open space. It was one of the options we looked at. The problem is we had criteria we had to go by. We had to score things. One of the big things, sadly, is financial. And that's just the way it is. And whether or not we would be able to actually implement this thing or get it through. Well, so sadly, open space just didn't make it. It just didn't make it. That's it. It just.
The funny thing about
I
open
would love to
space-
see open space. It's not going to happen. The town can't afford it. We can't afford it.
Well, not only
There
that,
are
it would
12 houses
cost
there
money.
now. There are 12 houses there now. There are those in town who might like to see 40 condo units there. I think that 12 units is probably a much better idea. At least it looks the same as it does now. You know what I mean? There'll be newer houses, but there'll be 12 houses.
See of what the houses look like. Not
Well,
one
that's our
house
next step. Our next step is to have the
before we-
plans.
the town meeting or after, because I still have a ton of things that I hear that you still have problems with. Easement, deeds, property boundaries, oil tanks.
I don't think you understand the scope of this committee.
Our committee
The
is,
scope of
our
this
committee is
committee-
here to recommend what is the best option for the town to move forward. It is not to divide the property up. It is not to sell the houses.
It is
Our
not
job
to,
is
not
to-
to do the leveling. It's none of that.
Right. Our job was to look at this and come up and recommend what would be the best option for the town of Nahant. Out of, and I will tell you,
That isn't the best. I mean, have you had a traffic study?
we don't need a traffic study. If we have,
There's already
if we
12
have 12
houses there.
houses, if there are 12 houses there and we put 12 houses there, the traffic is theoretically is going to be the same.
You are kidding yourself with that, because that is a dangerous intersection. I'm not talking about when they're built. I'm talking about when they're going to be built. When they're going to be built on a school zone, you're gonna have all these construction people, and you're gonna have, that is a four-way nonstop, like a free-for-all.
Again, that, I'm sorry, but that is not our purview. I mean, our purview is to determine what to do with the property, not to fix a four-way stop that people speed through.
You mentioned every problem that's going on here when you present this at town meeting, because I hope you're not going to skip all of those things.
People speed down Emerald Road, but I'm not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about what to do with this property.
Are you understanding that? I mean, I'm gonna be quiet now, but and honestly, it's just, I'm flabbergasted that you're pushing for 12 houses when you could push for 11, and there's so many problems. I mean, you mentioned that there was a barn that had to be split into a half. That doesn't concern you? I mean, those are things
what?
Before that you sell these lots. And that's
A
all
what?
Okay, and I'm gonna leave you with this meeting, but I'm just, I'm getting very upset, so I'm going to leave you.
I'd
guys.
like you to explain this deal about the barn, because it's the first I'm hearing about it, and I'm on the committee. So what are you talking about?
I don't know, they said a barn had to be cut because there's a property problem?
That's
No,
not true.
That's not true.
There is the barn that belongs to the golf course actually sits on a portion of this theoretical property. Keep in mind, the town owns the golf course and the town owns this property. There is no deed problem there. The town just redraws the line on what it sells to somebody versus somebody else. There is no lot problem. I mean, there are 12 houses there. There are, I mean, theoretically, if we move to 11 houses, we could lose between $350,000 and $400,000 right off the top, and then somewhere between $6,000 and $8,000 a year in taxes.
Well, money, right?
That's right.
That's right, because we have a huge amount of money that we owe on a sewer project. We have all kinds of projects that need to be done in this town, and we have low taxes because we don't spend.
People on one side of town, and they're losing opportunities on the other side. And that's what I'm really upset about, okay?
So everybody brings up open space. We have public beaches. We have.
Do you want to talk about open space? We could talk about Little Nahant and the fact that that all the right of ways are gone. So I don't really want to talk about open space at this point right now. It's not getting us where we need to go. It is not part of this meeting.
Thank you, Judy.
That's right.
All right. Michelle, I saw that you had a question.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Michelle Capano, 29 Ocean Street. I had a couple questions on the plans. So the plan before us that you're showing is the plan that you're proposing to put forth at the annual town meeting this year. Is that correct? The 12 house lots?
So this
12
is a
house lots.
rendition of what
Yes.
this is a rendition. When, at the
Mhm.
end of the day, we are proposing 12 house lots. The house is being torn down and we sell 12 house lots. We are not, we're showing this as a rendition. We are not saying this needs to be the specific plan.
Okay, so then the article being put forth would speak to 12 house lots of some type of configuration. I guess the question I have is, how are you going to be able to, because I think residents are going to want to actually see the actual, what is the actual configuration going to look like? And will you be able to have that in advance for town meeting or at town meeting for residents to look at? And then the other question,
Configuration is going to be close to this drawing.
close to this, okay.
Yes,
The
I mean, it's the best we can do with,
Mhm.
again, with all the information we have. This is the best that we can do. It's also the easiest when it comes to the layout. It makes sense.
Okay.
We did
Well,
have earlier surveyors where we asked them if they could, kind of reconfigure things a little bit. And this was kind of the best plan, out of them.
Okay, and then the cul-de-sac at the end.
That's a
is that-
requirement. Yeah, it's a requirement because this is considered a new subdivision.
Subdivision, okay.
Yep.
And so the town will have to invest putting in the cul-de-sac and the sidewalks for that section, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so then if the other question I have is, you talked about 11 house lots because of the 17 feet issue that still needs to be worked out. Will you look to have 11 house lots as a contingency in case something comes back once you've done the title reviews with the federal government and figure out if we own the land, if we don't own the land, will 11 house lots be your contingency?
It is not this committee's purview to go all the way through and determine that. To the best of our knowledge right now, through, again, this has already been through 2 different committees. There was actually an agreement with a contractor to build these houses. Our feeling, especially with some of the newer information we just received, is that we won't have this problem, and the 12 houses is in all likelihood. This would be
Great.
our plan
I
moving
agree.
forward.
I definitely agree with you. Just having monitored the real estate market, yeah, this should be, hopefully. I guess the other thing is, this is your recommendation, but will your recommendation also include plans for remediating the property with the oil tanks and then the tenants? And how is that going to be addressed? Because questions will come up. And so residents are going to want to look for those answers as well.
So in our meeting last week, we actually talked about this a little bit. First of all, when it comes to the oil tanks, that obviously is a recommendation. I will tell you, because we talked it when Anne Marie and I were on the phone. I would go back to the first selectmen's meeting that I reported back. I reported, from this committee, probably close to 3 years ago. And our recommendation to the selectmen 3 years ago was to remove the oil tanks immediately. So that is absolutely foremost that needs to happen. Again, I can't predict how long this is going to take. I can guarantee you that we go to town meeting in May, that it'll be at least until the following town meeting, because one, the deed researches will have to go on. They'll have the town land-owned study committee has to deem this property an asset. That shouldn't take very long. I'm trying to think. The planning board needs to look at this because it's a subdivision. They will have to make decisions and recommendations as far as it being a subdivision. And there needs to be money appropriated to do all of this. And our request this year, at this point, we're making the recommendation. There may be a follow-up question, adding money into it to be able to start this process. But that's not, again, that's not in really our purview. We're making the recommendation. So I would say by the time, we also have a person that leases the property that has a signed lease that goes until next January.
Yep.
We would have to give them obviously notice. So at town meeting, if this gets approved or adopted, there's at least till January and that person gets notified. The others that are month to month are pretty much
They only need a
notified.
30-day notice, so that's not so much an issue. So here's
Right,
what
but they're
I'm
gonna have several months.
The concern of all of this is the amount of time that note is coming due. We're going to owe that money, and we're not going to, and it's, when 10 years ago, 2024 it sounded like forever. Now it's like next year. So
well, this is where I'm coming from, Judy. So going into and trying to prepare and inform, residents so they can make an educated decision, having the plan and what the configuration looks like is the first step, but also understanding all the other aspects of town-owned land, planning, approving the subdivision, asking for funding so you can start creating a roadmap for, how many waves or how many buckets are you going to start remediating this property so, you have the first 4 house lots are ready for sale, right? They may be the most desirable ones first versus the less desirable, depending on what that looks like. And certainly consulting, others in the real estate market to get advice on which configuration should you start first, and breaking those up so we can realize as the town, the capital that can be generated as soon as possible once we've gotten clearance from planning board and the town study committee. Because to Judy's point, 2024 is going to come up really fast. We should, within 6 months after town meeting, if we clear all of those, there should be for sale signs on the first 3 or 4 lots. I mean, that's my expectation.
Well,
this is about raising capital and generating money for the town. I think residents are want to know, how soon are we going to start seeing a for sale sign on the first 3 or 4 lots?
I think there's the problem, Michelle. What worries me is because as soon as we have that town meeting and the town vote happens, this committee is done. There's nobody who's picking up the other side. I don't know the answer to that.
So this is where, wait a minute.
No, we're done.
It'll be another committee.
There'll be another one maybe, but our committee's job was to come up with
the recommendation.
That's it.
And again, I'm going to repeat it, the best use of this property for the entire town.
Right.
And that's what we've been looking at.
Right.
And I hear what you're saying. There's nobody on the other side. So what would be, frankly, I think what should happen at this meeting is that when this is voted on, then someone needs to make a motion that a new committee gets formed to make it happen.
That's where I'm going. Like, there needs to be an operating committee to see this through from ideation to execution. And so that's what's needed next.
Right. Agreed.
All right. Well, thank you. I do appreciate, I've been following as well. You have put a tremendous amount of time and commitment. I'm thankful for it. I know it's not necessarily the outcome other residents may look for, but I do appreciate what everyone has been doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle. Michelle actually brought up, I think, a really good point.
Yep.
That roadmap that she laid out, we should probably have a document like that go out to, in our packet so people understand that, our job is done with this recommendation, but going forward, these are the next steps, that the selectmen or the next committee have to make.
Well, the way that the warrant article is written is basically we're making the recommendation and the selectmen get directed to essentially carry it out. So, that's what the warrant article is we're recommending this. The selectmen need to take the steps to carry it out. Now, does that mean a new committee? Does that mean, I don't know. Again, we're a small town, and in other towns, they would be able to get you know, probably others, you know, their clerk of the works and other people that work in, you know, the city of Lynn, for example, has a whole department that can, you know, we don't have that luxury. So yes, there either needs to be another committee, or maybe the town actually has to hire somebody to do this. But again,
Not our
you know,
purview.
yeah.
But it looks like we've got a couple more questions.
Yep. I see.
I think Barbara,
Yep. Barbara, if you'd like to go.
did you unmute her?
Hold on. I don't even see her here anymore.
Oh, really? Okay, well,
No.
okay, then I think maybe Ken is next.
Yep. Ken's unmuted. Oh, Francine is one. Okay. Ken, you're unmuted. Go ahead.
Thanks, and apologies, I joined this late, so if this has already been covered, I'm sorry, but just in terms of the recommendation, and I totally understand what you're saying about the purview of this committee, it has to end somewhere and something new has to start. The question I had raised was actually around the timing and sort of marketing strategy. Is it all 12 at once? Is it, you know, is there any part of the recommendation that deals with that, or would that all fall to whoever handles the next part of this?
Well, it's funny because we do, and we're going to be discussing it shortly. We do have a kind of an open-ended item right now to recommend that the sale of the property be spread over 3 or 4 years. The problem with that is, one, the real estate market may fluctuate a great deal, and even less, that's a concern, but even less of a concern is the actual impact to the neighborhood. So picture 12 houses under construction. You start your first one right away, and then 3 years later, you sell your last plot of land and you start construction. You're talking 5-6 years of construction, and it wouldn't be fair to the neighborhood. And I think, you know, yes, I'd love to see it spread out because it spreads out the money coming in. But I think we need to try and rely on our town government to be careful with the money, and, you know, maybe.
Aren't we recommending that they stagger it because of the 40B issue?
Well, yes. And again, we still need to discuss it. It is on one of the slides that I wanted to try and clear up so we can remove these questions from, you know, what we're doing. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just one other factor to consider is the market effect of having 12 for sale at once versus 3, then 3, then 3. So
Well, I thought we needed to worry about that because I thought then that people someone could come in and buy all 12 and put up whatever they wanted.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Well, we were hoping to put some things in place in the recommendation, a recommendation that they could only buy a single lot, the lots could not be combined, you know, that kind of thing, so that to
deed
avoid
restrictions.
to avoid someone buying 3 or 4 lots, and, you know.
Right.
But anyway, we've got to see enough houses to satisfy the loan.
Right.
Right.
I just want, you know, Peter, you know, you raised, and others have raised a very valid point. This is, you know, the third time around at this.
Right.
You know, to me, you know, moving forward on something rather than punting on just the general plan, this thing will sit here forever this way. But that said, you know, what you'll be asking, or what the warrant article will be asking people to vote on, right? If there's, you know, I guess there needs to be some level of detail that's in the actual warrant article. Otherwise, all these questions will persist. And like what happened last time.
Hello.
You know, it was like,
Hello, how
this
are
thing
you?
will be resolved. The answer was we don't know, and it didn't pass because it was basically
You are?
just trust us.
I think we need to mute somebody.
Yep, I'm looking.
I just got a telephone call from you.
I think
She's muted.
Thank you.
Okay.
That was fun though. But anyway, what I was saying was without, if the general answer or the general warrant article just says like, here's the recommendation, now here's selectmen, you go do it. That's what caused this to fail the last time. Like if everything is left open, then how can people say yes to it? You know what I mean? So and you can't answer every question, but I guess there's some level of specificity that I think is the right balance to actually get people to accept it.
Well, I mean, I think we're being fairly specific in that there's going to be 12 lots and the lots are all going to be, enough to comply with zoning bylaws. We do have some specifics in this. Unfortunately, I don't know that at least at this point, we may not be able to find out. I'm hoping that, as they do a little bit of research, that this whole 17-foot piece of land on Castle Road clears up. If it does, then here's this is your layout. This is, again, this is what we envision as a layout. I think, again, make sure that the loan gets paid off first. The town retains the Heritage Trail piece of property, things like that, so that we do have as much detail as possible.
Okay.
I mean,
I think just to what Anne Marie was saying, if there's, and I'm not sure how you're planning on structuring the recommendations that go with the warrant article, but unless the warrant article says, including all these recommendations, then the recommendations don't really carry any weight for whatever happens next.
Oh, no. That's what, again, we're going to be getting to that in a few minutes, but our recommendations are going to clearly state, sell the properties in compliance with 30B procurement laws, break it up, remove, I don't know if we have remove oil tanks, obviously, in order to level the land and demo the property, you'd have to take the oil tanks out legally. So if they're not tied to a heating system, they need to be removed. So things like that, we didn't get that specific, but we are essentially saying the proceeds, the first thing that happens with the proceeds to the sale of the property is that the loan gets paid off. Because, we don't want them, hey, we got $4.5 million and we still got a $1.8 million loan hanging over our head. Theoretically, you'd have to probably pay it anyways, but where it's government, I'm sure there could be loopholes. So we are trying to get as specific as possible.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions, Ken?
No, I'm all set for now. Thank you, though. Appreciate
it. Francine?
Aye.
Oh, wait a minute. I think you're muted.
How's this?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, mine pertains to recommendations too. I know earlier you were talking about doing a building to lot ratio. Are you still, so you could limit the scale of the houses? Is that still being included?
Yes, 25% floor area ratio.
Okay. And will you also make recommendations for the process by which, whether it's a lottery or Nahant residents?
We
can't.
The state.
Chapter 30B state procurement laws prohibit anyone from giving favoritism for any reason. So again, I don't know how it may be it wouldn't be a lottery. It would probably be it most likely would be a closed bid. So, they're going to put lot number 1 up for sale and the minimum bid is got to be whatever we're saying that all the property gets sold on market value. So that, and essentially lot number 1, the market value is $327,000. That's the minimum bid. And then it goes from there.
Yeah. What about saying something like, the 1 lot per buyer type thing, or,
That's part of what we've said. That's part of it.
You are, okay.
And that they cannot be combined. The lots cannot be combined. Yep.
Right.
And you can't have a developer come in and just totally take advantage.
Exactly.
So there's two things about the developer coming in. One is we've already had two developers provide us with proposals. So the first proposal, which is the one that, started to move forward and then the market crashed, that developer offered 1.9 million. And Pan, keep me honest if I'm not correct me. But 1.9 million was what that.
I think the minimum bid was actually 2.1.
So it was right. The first one was 2.1.
Paid for the property, and and in the last process we got
1.9.
And the committee rejected it because of what they had planned. And then
But that was only 1.9.
Yeah. What's that? No,
that was only.
I think it was 2. I think the minimum bid was 2.1 because I think we purchased the property for 2.1 and we've only paid down, a little bit over 200,000 in principal, right? So
right. Okay.
1.88 something. So, but I mean, I really feel strongly, and obviously we can get to this, that we should really recommend staggering because, because of 40B, for instance, I'm looking at this picture right now, like if for some reason a developer, like the way that we offered it before was the entire lot, right?
Right.
And it had to be developed the way that we wanted it, which was, 6 single family homes on Castle and then like a larger building with 16 units or whatever, however many units it was around 16 or 18. So if I'm looking at it right now, if we do not stagger the lot sales, even with deed restrictions, some developer could come in and buy 3 or 4 of those lots that overlook the golf course and say, you know what, you guys, the town of Nahant does not have enough affordable housing. I'm going to put a high rise up there. And that's why I feel strongly that, we should recommend staggering the sales. I mean, obviously, again, we have to sell enough to satisfy the loan. But, I'm actually curious. Well, Francine, did we answer your question?
Yeah, you did. You did. I think, like Kenny said, I think the recommendations are going to be really important. So the more you can articulate them, the better we'll be, Thank you.
Right.
Tom and Anne Marie, you guys, this is your neighborhood. I'm curious, like, would you, as a butters, would you all like to see the sales staggered so the construction is staggered versus all of them going on the market at once and potentially all the construction happening at once?
Well, I don't, there's a lot to be said for that. I think that, all those oil tanks are going to have to come out.
Regardless.
They're going to have to come out. The houses are going to have to be torn down. The land will be somewhat just sort of shaped differently. It'll be graded differently, I'm sure.
Contoured.
So that the lots will be more,
attractive.
They'll look nice. They'll be more attractive to people. So I don't know. I'm not sure that it's better. It doesn't matter I guess it doesn't matter to me. I think we're going to have some construction, whether it drags on for 6 years or it happened in 3. I think it might be better if it happened in 3. I don't know. It's going to depend on how the market is and what we can do to, I know we only have to sell enough to pay off the loan, to do the demolition, to remove the oil tanks, all that's going to have to be able to be paid for up front, to do the grading,
it's funny.
The cul-de-sac, the sidewalk, all that.
I think one of the questions that we probably never asked our real estate experts is, what do you think will happen if we flood the market with 12 lots? And that is something I can reach out to, Linda and Lisa and find out, hey, if all of a sudden 12 vacant lots appeared on, Nahant's radar, do you think because there's 12, it would be more difficult to get that 3.5 to 4?
They're gonna be scooped pretty quickly.
I think
Well,
so.
I mean, we all think
know,
that, but
I remember
just-
when the Chamberlain estate was broken up and they sold those lots. It didn't take very long.
what's the Chamberlain one?
It's on between Mayolas and I guess it's Tudor Road. There was a
Okay.
house that a big piece of property, and they sold them off. They cut it up and sold them off, and they sold pretty darn quickly.
Yeah. Well, I know the two most recent were the one on the corner of Pond and Nahant Road, and the other one
Right.
is on Pond.
Mhm.
The houses, I think, are just being finished now. I know that property, I thought, and Wayne, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that property was on the market for quite a while.
Oh,
But maybe
no,
not.
no.
No,
I don't think so.
that's
No?
Hodges. No, it wasn't.
No.
Yeah, Hodges, I mean, and I know one of them was 405,000 and the other was 350. So.
Yeah, one sold twice. I mean, somebody bought it and then decided not to build on it
Right.
and sold it and made some, a little bit of profit on it too. So
Right. All right, let's, we're getting
we're getting
a
way
little
off
long
base
here. So what I did was I started to, I guess the next agenda item is just to start looking at the slides for the selectmen's meeting. So what I did was I started to kind of wean down the slides. I changed this slightly, just, okay, it's an overhead shot. The next slide, do we need to keep it? It was an objective that we had. I think in light of tonight, us almost arguing that our purview is to make this recommendation.
I think the objective has to stay.
Right,
Agreed.
I do too. I think we need to let not only the selectmen, remind the selectmen at their meeting, but also people that are watching that our
Yeah, and they were all
purview is
different
to-
selectmen.
Right, our
They're not- none of
purview-
them are the same players.
Right. Our job is to basically was to research and come up what is the best course of action for the town with relationship to this property.
Mhm.
And I think you're right. I think the objective is important. So Judy, if you want to move forward, next slide. So what I did was I combined the existing site conditions and I included I kind of combine things and I put the financials. I'm trying to streamline it for the selectmen so that I'm not presenting for an hour. The balance, I should probably reach out to Tony and see if there's a difference. Again, these numbers come from June of last year. Maybe I can put a little footnote that these numbers are from June of last year.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
So, all right. And then the next one, the requirements. So this goes to what we were just talking about. And I think to Pan's idea, I think it's a great idea. Instead of requirements, we should change it to a list of next steps. And use this slide and move this slide to the end. So the next steps would be, the property's got to go to land-own committee or town meeting vote would be number one. Selectmen take action, maybe create an oversight committee. And then the property's got to go to land-own committee, to the planning board, give notice to renters. These are all the things that need to happen. And I think just changing this slide and then moving it to the end so that we make our recommendation and, oh, by the way, here's what needs to happen. Does that make sense?
I like that. I think because that means we make the recommendation and then we give them something that they need to do next. It's not a scramble, then what's next? So
Right,
we've
right.
given them that roadmap. I like that a lot.
Okay.
And it's good because I want, obviously, all of the participants who spoke up today brought up good points.
Yeah.
And as a layperson, right? I mean, these are valid questions. What is going to happen next? And so having that documented for people to have right in front of them is a great idea.
And I think too, when you go to the Board of Selectmen to go through these slides, it's also a time to say to the Board of Selectmen, you need to start thinking about what comes next. Because they have to start planning for that.
Yep.
They don't know that yet.
Right. Okay. So next slide.
So the
Is-
requirements slide, you're gonna switch and call it next steps. Is that what you said?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. Okay.
And we'll move it to the end of the presentation.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
I started to do some of the work, like I didn't know what to do. Like, again, this is a new selectman, a new group of selectmen. And I'm trying to think if any of them were sitting when we did our last presentation, maybe Josh, but I'm not
Yeah.
even sure. No, because yeah, I don't think so. And I'm thinking like the thing about the overview is, because basically these slides I haven't touched. It's the overview, it's our work plan. I don't know if we need to show the work plan. I just think it's important. So, because I don't know, I guess, I get frustrated, and what frustrates me is people think that we haven't thought this through. And I think what the overview and the work plan shows that, I mean, we've been meeting for 3 years. Like we didn't just, this isn't some favorite thing that we want to do, or, like we've looked at all the different things. Yeah, open space is important. We have more open space than probably any town in Massachusetts. I mean, we have
People
beaches.
just have strong feelings on on stuff like this,
Yeah,
Peter.
I know. But, like the open space, we have, Margarine Park, Bailey's Hill, Lodge Park. We have all this open space. And I'm not saying to gobble it up and use it. And yes, this would be great to turn into more open space. We got the golf course right next door, which is open space. But, the reality is that we pay low taxes in this town. And because we pay low taxes, some things haven't been getting taken care of over the years, and other things have been breaking down. And now we need to essentially, this will be, and I said it to the FinCom, this will be probably the largest financial windfall that the town of Nahant may ever see, ever. And this may never come around ever in the future unless they decided to give up the golf course.
Right.
So,
and in FinCom, you saw that
It's
they
all
spent the money
wetland.
4 different ways.
yeah, right. We were standing there within 10 minutes. It was like, oh, we could do this. We could do that. We could do this. Oh, we need to pay this. We need to pay that. And it's true. Like, and I'm not saying we go into these stipulations, but we could.
Yeah, but I don't want people to think that wasn't the be all end all of our discussions.
Which is
it
why
wasn't just the money. It certainly wasn't just the money. It was a combination of things.
Yes.
And I'd like the neighborhood to realize that there are 12 houses there now.
Right.
So that if you still have 12 houses there, once the building's done, the negative impact, there won't be a negative impact. It's what was there, we're not changing it.
It's funny because it's 12 3-bedroom houses currently.
Right.
In the future, again, we're restricting the size of the houses to 25% floor area ratio to try and keep them small. That's not to say that somebody's not going to build a 4-bedroom house, because they probably could or would. But that also doesn't mean that somebody's not going to build a 2-bedroom house,
right?
A 2-bedroom retirement home. I mean, basically that's the whole idea. We hope that we get 2-bedroom retirement homes, and we hope we get 4-bedroom new families to move in. I mean, that's what we envisioned. So, all right, just
But I
moving
agree. So
along.
because of that very thing, I think you need to spend a minute and a half on criteria and the options. That's
do
just,
too.
you need to say, because then I don't want them to think that we just pulled this out of our back, out of our
Yeah,
hat.
we know.
Okay, so,
Well-
but
All right.
yeah, moving on. It's late, guys. I'm starting to fade.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, but I think that it's important to talk about this.
Yep. Okay.
Why don't you list the criteria on the slide? Yeah.
Well, this was basically the work plan, and we've always glossed over it because one, nobody can really read it. I mean, it is in the slides from September. It'll be in this slide, and people can certainly go in and read through it to see, how we put all of this together and how we did our scoring. I don't know if do we need to, we talked about this before, but do we need to do anything with this with respect to scoring? Should we have a score sheet, not even a score sheet of how it came out, but should we have a score sheet to say, this is how we scored?
Well, I think what you could say is we started out with 15 or 16 options
Right.
based on this criteria, right?
Yeah, because I think the next slide is the criteria, right?
Yeah, based on the criteria, we scored them. So immediately we cut that in half because they just didn't score well
Right.
enough,
Right.
And I mean, something like that, you can get into it more if you want, but I think this criteria and the fact that we scored them and we all did it individually. And oddly enough, we came up with the same scores. We all did
Yes.
that by ourselves.
Right.
So,
Yeah, so there's, all right, and then, so you talk about the work plan, the criteria, so that you had a consistent, a consistent score across the way, and then here's the recommendation.
Right. Okay. And then, so the recommendation, so this is what we need to clarify. So our recommendation is essentially to tear down the existing houses, sell 12 individual buildable house lots, or actually I should say, contour the land as best we can to flatten it. And then one, to limit overdevelopment. We're going to have, we want the floor area ratio limited to 25%. We want the town to retain the 15-foot wide path for the Heritage Trail. We want the town to retain the 5 to 10 feet of road to clear encroachment on Castle roads. Now, I would take this 5 to 10 feet and put it aside for now. The town should retain the 30-foot tract of land for the golf course, or just, yeah. Town should retain the property for the dirt road access. Lots cannot be combined. We require the loan and associated costs for the sale of the properties be paid off first with any profit. We recommend the minimum bid for lots be set at current market value. All right, do we want to include this recommend immediate increase in rent to market value?
I think it's irrelevant.
I don't
Yes.
think, but.
At this point, it's moot.
I think
don't
it's
think so.
irrelevant, so I think we can eliminate that one. And then, so I want to go back to that town should retain 5 to 10 feet of Castle Road. We don't even know if that's a problem anymore. It could be 17 feet, it could be 5 or 10, whatever. So,
And it could be nothing.
or it could be 0. So
Yeah.
I believe that, maybe we need something that basically says clear all questions of titles or I don't know.
Well, this is it. It's now one lot,
Right.
right? It's one
Yep.
lot. When it's divided, each one of those lots is going to have to be
Titled.
have
Right,
title, right?
Right.
So,
So essentially, we don't need to put that in there. We just need to advise the selectmen that there may be some title issues with the current deed.
I mean,
There
that-
may or may not be. because the registry of deeds is open, we haven't been able to, come up with a definitive conclusion that the title would be clean. Is that correct?
Well, you might even
I
need a
don't
slide
know.
on it. I mean, it's cost us a year.
Right.
I mean, we could basically we could either put up a montage of the drawings that we have that raise these issues, or, have them all combined on one drawing and show how it's, been hacked up.
Peter,
I'd hate to see us
Maybe
raise
different-
issues.
It's a different thing, I think, guys. I think it goes back, it goes in the back of the deck when you talk about what they have to worry about when this committee's done. So they have to
Right,
make
right.
certain the titles are
Okay.
clear. All of that stuff has to be done.
Okay.
It's the next step.
And I think it's enough to say that. Clear
Right.
title for each of the 12 lots.
Yep. Okay.
That's up to them to get clear title for each of the 12 buildable lots. And I think
Right.
that could be on that next steps. And I think it's enough to say it, because I think to make a big issue of this, when it's maybe a total non-issue, we're going to cause this thing to go south.
We are
Right.
going to cause it to go south.
Yep. I
Um,
totally agree. All right. So now we're down to,
Pam, did you want something?
yeah, did you, are you gonna, with this presentation, are you gonna include the picture that shows, we've had it in the past, that shows
floor area,
the
the floor
30,
area ratio.
no, the 30.9 foot tract of land?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe we could like say, I don't know, call it like A and B so they can clearly see it. I think the picture just makes it so much more clear than listing
Yeah.
it.
Okay. So at this point, the next items are the ones that we need to discuss. So recommend limiting purchase to, well, actually, we are going to recommend limiting purchase to one per individual entity or group. And then the last one is the one that keeps coming up this is the one that we need to do, basically decide on. And that's the additional restrictions, staggering sales to provide windfall over multiple years. And
Why don't,
I mean-
can we wait until we get an answer from the real estate experts before
Yep.
we make this determination? I think that makes sense.
okay. Yeah, that's one that I want to come to a determination on, simply because that's the one that does have an impact to, the neighborhood, but it also, may impact the sale price too. I mean, even if they came back and said, well, maybe you don't want to do more than 6, that we could stagger every other lot or something. And that way it does 2 things, and we're able to get, enough money up front, and it reduces, it's a compromise.
Well, it also, I mean, I don't know how much you tried to use Pond Street while these other 2 houses were being built, but, somebody at one point had asked us about recommending, traffic patterns and signage and parking restrictions and so forth. If you had somebody in there building 2 or 3 houses, you wouldn't be able to get back and forth on that road, Castle Road. So, I mean, it raises other issues we should talk about.
In an ideal world, I would like to see, for several reasons, I would like to see the lot staggered. I'm not saying, over like a huge amount of time, but, not all at once. I just think that it's,
Well, I mean,
all
as
at
far
once
as
would shut down Castle Road, in theory.
well, I will say that, I mean, I don't live that far from the Pond Street houses, and yeah, there were a few days that they had to shut down to do, sewer tie-ins and things like that. And there's going to be some that's going to happen with these 12 lots. I'm not going to lie to anybody, but I think what will probably happen is this, even though it was only 2 houses on Pond Street and it's 12 houses here, I believe the shutdowns would be probably the same amount of time, maybe a day more or a day or 2 more. And the reason for that is they're going to open the street once and they're going to pull out all the septic ties that need to go to each of the
Yeah.
lots
Yeah,
so
no,
that
no,
it's all gets done at once.
It's all the contractor. You know,
Right,
I
but
mean,
we're not going to fix that tonight either.
Yeah.
Not.
I mean,
no, but it's something I think we should talk about because
yeah,
this,
no, it's, I mean, believe me, it's a school zone. It's one of the reasons that I think it's one of the reasons we scored low on condo units because there's a school there. I mean, we we totally have thought about all of that. Yeah, it's going to be a problem, and I'm pretty sure they're going to need to have traffic, police there directing traffic for sure, especially when the school is there. Thankfully, or hopefully, the majority of this work gets done in the summertime. No, Francine, there is not gas on the property. There could be, but there is not any at this time. It's oil. I just answered that one because I saw it really quick.
Yeah, it's oil or electric heat.
So,
I don't
all right,
know
so
yet.
we're going to wait on that. I don't know if you want to flip to the next slide. So these are frequently asked questions that we've been, these are just some of the questions that stick in my mind that people have asked either me personally or they've asked at some of the meetings that we've had. And I just want to start putting together the frequently asked questions for the mailing, the information when we mail it out to residents in Nahant.
It sounds like the answer was the same for both questions, and I don't know.
Well, for the first, yes, for the top 2, definitely. The third question, yeah, the top one is affordable housing. Why not make these homes available to the elderly? We agree that Nahant needs affordable housing and affordable housing for young families. However, Nahant must follow mass procurement laws when selling the property. And under those laws, there's no way to give favoritism for Nahanters. So can we offer the current residents a right of first refusal? This is the same as the prior answer. Nahant will need to follow the mass procurement laws and cannot give favoritism to anyone. Nahant currently does not meet their state requirement for 40B affordable housing. Shouldn't we be looking to designate some of this property for 40B? The town currently has no 40B plan, which would make it difficult, if not impossible, to have a 40B aspect to this property. Not fully understanding 40B, the town not having a plan, the committee removed 40B from its criteria.
And the biggest reason to remove 40B is that if somebody goes in, if a developer goes in under 40B,
add hostile 40B.
they don't have to follow any of our zoning laws.
Right. So I'll add that to the question.
And I think people need to know that.
To the answer.
Yeah, because I think people think you're just being, it's not fair. Why not affordable housing,
Right. Yep. I'll add the hostile 40B to that answer.
Yeah.
The committee is recommending restricting the floor area ratio. Why? By limiting the floor area ratio, FAR, to 25%, houses built on these lots would be more in line with those of the neighborhood, average floor area ratio 23%, and protect against overdevelopment. So I don't know if, I think I have another sheet of questions.
I do think that first question, the answer on the first question.
Yep.
I think you started out just talking about the elderly, and somewhere there you put in affordable housing for, I would just take that out.
So
we agree, because
we
you've
agree
asked.
Nahant needs affordable. Yeah, but Anne Marie, I only put that in because you're the one that keeps saying we need young families. But I can do the same.
The question doesn't say anything about young families. It only speaks to elderly. That's so.
All right, I'll remove
because
that.
when we get down further to the 40B affordable housing, that
Yep.
sort of answers the question, you know, if we could do it so that young people would be able to.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
not as worried about the elderly, because most of the elderly who live in Nahant can sell their big houses and build a small one and
Right.
have a little cash left over.
Right. Okay. I can take that out. All right. Next, I only have two more questions. And to Judy had sent me the notes to the FinCom meeting, and maybe I can glean some more questions out of that. Why wouldn't we just sell the existing houses as is? Current homes were built in the 1950s as temporary military housing. They are poor quality 2x3 construction, slab on grade, uninsulated, with roofs and heating systems that date back to the 1970s. They also have environmental issues, underground oil tanks, and suspected asbestos and lead paint.
Do people understand that because it's a 2x3 construction, they couldn't put a second floor on that? And correct me if I'm wrong, Wayne.
Not only could they not put a second floor on, but if they wanted to put an addition on, as soon as they touch any exterior wall, that wall now has to be brought up to code, which is currently what, 2x6, Wayne?
Well, it's a matter of R factor. It's not a matter of thickness, but
Right.
I mean, do most people understand that, or would they even think about it when they went in to buy a house? I mean, some will, some won't. But clearly, if someone was to say, you know, oh, I want to add a second floor, the simple answer would be, well, you know, you got to tear the house down because it won't hold it up.
Right.
Well, that's what I mean. When we just say, you know, this 2x3 construction, will anybody even realize what we mean by that? Or do we have to?
Oh yeah,
do we have to
no,
elaborate?
I think the vast majority of people will understand when you describe it as 2x3 construction. Would they know what you're talking about? Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I can add a little bit more to that, you know, that any major work done to these houses, they would have to be virtually torn down to bring them up to code, and, you know. So this one I'm going to have to fix, because I thought it was 1.9 and 2 million, but according to Pan, it's 2.1 million. The town had agreed to at least one prior option to sell to a developer to build a combination of condos and houses. Why is your recommendation so different? Selling the property to a developer basically takes a large portion of the profits and gives it to the developer.
Oh,
both
Peter,
Yep.
I wasn't on the committee the first time at the time when the first developer won the bid. So you could be right. I thought you were talking about when one of the iterations that I was on when we got one bid.
And
So
I
there
got to
was-
go back. I mean, I'm getting so confused, but I believe we purchased the property for 1.9 million. And the first bid was basically to pay back the loan, and then we would obviously reap benefits from the tax dollars. And then the second bid was 2.1 million, which gave us a $200,000 profit, but we've already spent 775,000 on interest alone.
Well, that might have been, I think that there were perhaps two bids during the first round, first RFP, but that predates me.
Okay.
And then the RFP that we did, the committee did the second time around, we got one bid. And then, and we rejected that one bid. And I believe that was for the minimum, which was 2.1 at that time. And then that's when the committee went to town meeting again to try to get the zoning pre-approved.
Right.
Attractive to developers.
Oh, that reminds me when you just said that about zoning. So when we make our recommendation, we will be recommending that the 25% floor area ratio and the lots cannot be combined would be through a deed restriction and not a zoning overlay, because we want to stay away from the zoning overlay part of it.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, great. Anyways, I'll do a little research and come up with these correct numbers, but selling individual lots can reap the town 3.6 to 4.8 million as estimated by local real estate agents. And again, I know this isn't about money, or I know it appears that we're just thinking about money, but it's not just thinking about money. It's thinking about, you know, we have this property. We've been getting income from this property since we purchased it. And again, I may put that down as a question, you know, why doesn't the town continue to do this as rental property? Again, we researched that, and in order to continue renting these properties, we'd have to replace the roofs, the heating systems. Currently, there's no insulation. So the people that, you know, use those heating systems, like there's a couple of them that are electric heat. I can only imagine what their heating bills are. And the ones that have oil are literally, you know, shoveling money into their oil tank. So there's, I want to say the estimates we got was somewhere between I think it was $400,000 to $600,000 to bring these units up to snuff, to get them so that we could continue renting them and not have a problem. And that's aside from the fact that the town of Nahant should not be a landlord.
Well,
And
and
we
it doesn't pay off our loan.
Right,
We have
and
to-
it doesn't pay off
Right.
our loan, correct. All right, so I mean, we're almost at 9 o'clock. There's a couple of questions. I just want to grab these questions. Actually, do we want to meet again? One, I'll do a little work on these slides, and we're gonna need to get meeting with the Board of Selectmen at some point. So I don't know if we need to meet again to review the slides, or should I kind of reach out to everybody and say, hey, I think I'm ready to present you with the slides? Is that better?
Well,
Well, I mean, it's really about your comfort level, Peter. What,
Okay.
I mean, you're speaking for you do a beautiful job. If
I
you
work
like
well
us,
under pressure.
I mean, you're terrific, right? So if you'd like us to go through them with you and give you a chance to practice, then that's okay. And
Right.
if you're perfectly, you know, you're singing these things in your sleep, then we don't have to. It's really whatever your comfort level is best.
Okay. Yeah. Let me do this. Actually, I'm on vacation anyways next Thursday. Thursday, I'm gone until the 1st. So I'm going to Florida where it's
Are you
warm.
really? Are you really?
And I'm going down to visit my daughter in Fort Myers.
Better wear a double mask.
Yeah, I know. I'm really concerned about
Shouldn't you
that. But
sail?
what's that?
Shouldn't you sail?
I'd love to sail
Wouldn't it be
down
better
there,
to
but
sail down?
During the
yeah,
winter.
we're essentially
right's
going
good.
down there. We're going to quarantine on a beach for a week and hang out with my daughter and give her a little mental health boost. And yeah, I'm not crazy about flying and this at this time, but it's
All
a
right,
2-for-1
Fine,
deal.
we're-
And
Yeah, you
so,
have to be
Yeah.
all right.
careful, wear your
So I
mask.
will work on this. What I'll probably do is maybe try and get these out to you before I go on vacation, so you'll have time to look at them. And then when we meet again, we can, we can kind of look at, look at them together and hopefully finish them off. So the other question is the drawing.
Yeah,
We want Hayes to start their rendition drawing on utilizing the 12 lots. And essentially we want ranches, capes, and colonials or something. Just mix up the houses so that it kind of reflects what we may end up with.
Yeah, some
You know,
well, it looks like a
representative.
neighborhood.
Yeah, it looks like a regular. I mean, we can't dictate that, this this lot's going to be a ranch and that one's going to be a colonial,
Right.
but at least we can show what it's going to look like.
okay. I
Does
have a
that sound
question.
okay, Tom?
Yeah, but I have a question I need answered first.
Yeah.
In his drawing that he sent on the 50 feet wide, we're not using that. We're going to use the other one that was 33.
Correct.
Correct.
He also just grabbed a drawing that he had already done.
Yep.
And he's got another one that shows that cul-de-sac in the center. I don't like this one where it's all stripped onto lot 12.
Yeah, I would put the cul-de-sac in
agree.
the center.
Put it in the
Yeah,
center.
Lot 12 is huge, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the one thing
No.
lot 12 was
No.
13. I mean, the
Yeah.
original number that sticks in my head was it was actually the biggest lot in.
I actually like it because the other lot is significantly smaller, and it would just look weird with that little piece shaved off. But you know, this is
No,
purely.
Explain yourself. I didn't understand it.
Yeah, if you go back to the other drawing where the cul-de-sac's in the middle.
Oh, sure, if it was only that easy.
Yeah, what Pan's saying is the other drawing, it affects two lots. And one of the lots, I mean, if you think about it, all these lots with the cul-de-sac kind of drooping southward, or I shouldn't say southward, but drooping down, like it does in this particular drawing. So when you look at this drawing, it's affecting both of those lots. Granted, they're both going to be 12,000 square foot lots. I mean, I don't care. One half dozen of the other to me, as far as I'm concerned.
Since it's not since we don't know what we're really going to do, I'm going to put it in the center unless you want to change it otherwise, because it just doesn't look right for that lot 12. It just compresses that whole lot.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think it really matters. Again,
This is fine.
yeah, we're envisioning, we want 12 lots, and Tom, the cul-de-sac, I don't think matters at this point. Again, this is what we envision.
Yeah.
When they get out there to do different work, they may come up with a different plan altogether as far as how to lay out this turnaround. Like we talked about the hammerhead. It gobbles up a little bit more of the square footage, but it may be more pleasant for the homeowners because it's squared off. But and keep in mind, this is not town-owned land. The edges of that cul-de-sac are going to be easements. So yes, they're going to be asphalt or whatever, but it's an easement.
So what are you saying? You're thinking that's not going to count as the square against their square footage?
It shouldn't if it's an easement.
I don't think it did, because lot 12 now says it's 11,000 square feet. In the original thing, it was about 16, I think.
Correct.
So, that.
But doesn't that say easement?
No.
Does the other drawing show easement?
He verbally now has changed his mind and calling them easements.
Okay. Maybe they can't be. I don't know.
I don't know. He didn't get that from me. I don't know who he's talking to.
Yeah, I think this is fine. I would draw the 12 lots with the cul-de-sac in the middle. And I think that would be, as close to what we're looking at as our vision. That's what we've always talked about.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as that doesn't
that
make you lose too much of that lot.
Right.
The lot that's on the left going down Goddard Drive. I mean, having it in the middle could make you lose, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it. It's 12,000 square foot lot.
Well, he's actually made the other lot bigger. No, he hasn't. He's made lot 8 bigger. He's made the lot next to the Heritage Trail bigger.
Yeah.
Right.
He's bumped that up.
Yeah. Keep in mind, this is the drawing that shows 11 lots of land.
Yeah, this one. But, what I don't like about this one is the way he's really ruined both lots on the end of Goddard. Sorry, Gardner,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those lots are going to be.
Yeah, pie shaped and.
You're talking about 4 and 5?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a slice of pie now.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I tried to text him, email him back and forth about this. There's some mistakes on this, but he didn't put a lot of time into this.
Yeah, no, and again, this is what we envision. It's, you know, so Tom, I would just ask him to, 12 lots, cul-de-sac in the middle, to the best of his ability on the sizes of the lots. And then if he could start the person that does their renderings so that we can have a nice looking, what this is going to kind of look like.
Okay.
Right.
Any need or want to have this staked at all?
No.
I don't believe so.
No.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
Any need or want to have a contour plan done?
No.
No, I mean, that's something that the town is going to have to do once, once they start leveling the houses and want to level the land.
All right, well, I may want to put a statement in then if we're not going to do a drawing, because one thing I'd like it at least taken down to street level. Okay,
Oh.
I mean, it's the committee's decision, but
No, I mean, we talked about
connects back to what some people were talking about earlier, is not having a real plan. I mean, this
but
is,
we've already decided that we're going to have the land contoured.
yeah, I know, but that has a broad, a broad meaning. Plus, the way some of these lots are done, it would affect how you do the contouring. If you look at lot number 1 all the way down to the school, there's probably a 15-foot drop. So even if you took that, let's say you took 4 or 5 feet off the, and leveled that lot off in the front, you'd have dirt that could go way down to lot 5, 6, or 7.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is to,
you don't want to put a stone wall back behind that.
no, the idea is to level the lots as best we can so that, the lots are most usable, I think is probably the best way to look at it.
Yeah,
right.
If you had it building ready, I mean, that would add to the value.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
All
right. So I guess we're all done. I do want to just, if there's anyone else that has questions, I did see a few hands come up.
I think they left.
Okay. Because I know Michelle asked, there is gas on Castle Road.
Yeah, my house has gas. I have gas heat. Yeah.
Yes. And some of the houses have electric heat, but the majority of them have oil heat. We know that because of the oil tanks.
Right.
Let's see. All right, Ken had to leave. Well, it looks like everybody is pretty much left.
Going back to Tom's point, I realized that I was muted. Should we just, instead of getting the contouring plan, should we just make that part of, make it a recommendation that the lot should be contoured to make them the most marketable?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, my whole position on this has been aesthetic and runoff. I hadn't even thought about the marketable part, but basically, if it's already contoured to build it, it is it is marketable. But the number of times that I've walked back there with surveyors and so forth, and just all the things they pointed out to me is that there are a number of issues that might relate even to how you cut up the lots based on how you do the contouring. So
You're talking about lots 1, 2, and 3, and maybe 4, right? Those ones.
the whole thing. Everything but 11 and 12. Well, no, 6 and 7 and 11 and 12 are probably the only ones that don't have contouring issues.
Yeah, here's the
No,
thing,
you say
Dad.
that.
We either
You say
decide
that.
to do it or not. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter so much, but because as Pan said, my My preference is to say, this is what our vision is. It's up to the next committee to make it happen. But whatever it is, we have to go in there as one voice and we have to make it very clear. So I don't want to be confusing people with the conversation of contour, not contour, pieces, not pieces, title, not title. We can't confuse the conversation because as soon as we throw any kind of doubt, it's going to make people go, well, what else are we missing? And I think that was Michelle's point. We have to be very strong about where we're
Yep.
going. So if we want to have a contour, then do it. If we don't want to have a contour, then we can't talk
Oh,
about
no,
it.
I think we've talked about the contouring for as long as I can remember. And yes,
We've already paid for it. Oh, well, we haven't paid for it, but it's on
Right.
contract.
right. To do a
Well,
contour
then we
drawing,
get it
but
done.
No.
But it
I
can't
mean-
hold us up.
right.
Well, basically, I hear you talking about we're stopping at the idea part. Okay.
Well, that's
We have
kind
a-
of
we
where I
have a
thought
vision.
we were, but if we've already
Well-
paid for it, or if we've already contracted it, and we can have it, what I'm saying too is at this point in where we are in the process, we can't let another year go by while we wait for drawings. So they either get them or they don't.
Right. Actually, we have paid for it. Tom, how long would it take them to get, if they can get us contour drawings? Because here's my thought. When we go to town meeting, to Ken Carangelo's point, we need to be pretty specific. Well, we can't be specific about where the houses are going to be placed or, where every inch of the property is going to be staked out based on, because we're still, we don't have all of the information from the registry of deeds. But one thing we can tell you is this is how it should be contoured. This is going to give you the best aesthetic look, the
Yeah.
most marketable, and the best water runoff. If we can do that, I think that's a help. So get them working on it. But if he says it's going to take 8 months to do it and we won't have it for town meeting, then it's not worth having.
I think I tend to agree. I'm just not sure if he's going to need lot lines. Perhaps he doesn't, to tell you the truth.
The lot line,
It's just a matter of,
you're contouring the whole space, not just an individual lot.
yeah, it's the
Right.
whole space.
Right.
So
But it would have implications on the lot, how you could cut the lots, I think.
I don't think so. I think they're going to be taking dirt and pushing it around to fill in the holes and fill in the big drop offs and try and level it
Yeah.
out so they're ready to
Alright.
build. I think,
Alright.
yeah. I
Let
mean,
me ask the question because, basically he's already got the contour as it exists.
right.
So it may not be that big of a deal.
Every builder who goes there to build a house is gonna do grading.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
all gonna do it.
Well,
When they put the
it might-
foundation in, they're gonna move dirt around. It's
Yeah.
not gonna
Right.
be, that's gonna happen.
yeah, but it's gonna help them decide whether they're hauling dirt out or where they're moving it.
Mhm.
right.
So Peter, when will you go to the selectmen? Maybe we should figure that out.
I haven't been given a date yet. I wanted to get a little further down the road with the presentation first.
Alright.
Like I said, I mean, I could do the same presentation that we did back in September. I just thought we could slim it down a little bit for the sake of time. But we can.
I like your streamed down version. You did
Okay.
a really
I
good job
agree.
of making it, crisp and concise.
Yeah. I've been working on that.
Yeah.
So
No, I
so-
think it's great, Peter. The only thing is, I don't think you should skimp on too much on the work plan, the criteria, the
No, I think I
scoring,
want to
because
expand on that, actually.
Yeah, 'cause
I don't
it-
think
it-
I don't think I gave enough information the last time so that
Okay.
people, I need to work on that to basically say, this was our work plan. We went through all this process and, to really lay out, what have you been doing for the last 3 years?
Right.
Here it is,
Mhm. Yep.
So, okay. All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So wait, just
Oh.
1 second. You're gonna be away though for a while now, right? So,
I'll be back on March 1st.
March 1st,
So,
okay. So
yes.
the meeting with the selectmen will be sometime after that,
correct.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I
Um,
said, I'll try and get this stuff for you. I'll try and get this, my presentation. I'm getting rid of all the background information. All of those slides will go away. It'll be, again, to Pan's point, short and concise. We'll leave time, I hope we don't get into the whole, well, I have this idea about, that Heather Goodwin is the same person who came to us and said we should have elderly housing.
yeah.
We told her why we can't do elderly
You
housing.
know
Now
what-
she wants open space. I mean,
You know what the thing is, Peter, where she lives, she has a clear view to that space. So naturally she's concerned,
I totally understand.
just
I know, but
people get excited,
They do.
Yeah,
and
but you live
I
across
have
the
trouble
street.
with that, Anne Marie, because I have trouble with the accusatory tone more than anything. Why didn't you and why can't we have? And as soon as that happens, I get my back up, which is why I'm not a good speaker at town meeting, and Peter is. His back doesn't get up nearly
No,
as fast
actually,
as mine does.
I lost it a little bit tonight myself, and it's
Oh,
I get frustrated because she started to say, I've been following this for 8 years. Okay, well, there's been a big gap in the first 2 years of this committee because you weren't at any of those meetings, and all of a sudden you showed up, you asked a few questions, we gave you the response, you didn't like the response, and all of a sudden we're not listening to you.
I know.
Just because you give us an idea doesn't mean we can run with it. We like every idea that we got.
Don't let it get to you. We shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
it's frustrating, but it is frustrating. So I appreciate it, and whatever you need. But I do think that maybe, Peter, if you could just send the town a note and ask for time on the selectmen, so when you come back, it can be done pretty sooner rather than later.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you want to schedule our next meeting before I make a motion to adjourn? Or do you want to wait?
No.
We can do it. Okay.
Yeah, why don't I see how I do with the slides? We get them off. I go on vacation, and I have my phone with me. You can email me or text me or whatever if
Not
and then
problem.
I'll try and get on the selectmen's thing. I think, what do they meet? Maybe the end of March. That gives us a couple of weeks to meet, finalize, and then we hit it hard.
Enjoy your time with your daughter. Don't.
Thank you.
We're not
Be
calling
safe.
you.
Just be safe.
Yes.
I think
So
I might
I'm going to
wear
make a
double
motion
mask
to
on a
adjourn.
plane.
So moved.
Thank you. Hey, everybody, have a great night, and thanks for everything.
Be safe.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good meeting, Peter.
Thank you.